That's the story where the princess's house gets damaged by a storm and the animals help her fix it.
Yeah. What did they do to fix it again?
To the Book of Goblins.
This is a
Damn right.
nice little break because it was getting emotional.
A little bit.
The beaver fixes the house. Once upon a time, in an ancient and deep forest, there lived a wise princess in a big wooden house. One night, a particularly violent storm shook the house. It shook the shingles on the roof and the planks in the walls. It even shook the beams on which the house stood, blowing the whole thing near to the ground. The princess hid in a closet, fearing the house would come down on her as she slept. In the morning, the house was still standing, but it was badly damaged. The storm had blown shingles off the roof and planks off the walls, and even bent a post upon which the house stood. The first two things she could fix, but the last concerned her. What will I do? Despaired the wise princess. For though she knew many things, she did not know how to fix the big wooden house.
Just then, the old bear came by to see if the princess had any trouble in the storm. When he found her nailing planks back into place, he said, "Stop, princess. Let me do that for you. I'm happy to do it." "I'm happy to do it," said the princess. "But if you want to help with the roof, you may." When the pair were done with the roof and the walls, they examined the bent support posts. "I could throw my body against it," said the old bear. "I am very large." He stretched up onto his hind legs, being sure the princess could appreciate how very large he was, then charged straight at the post. He threw his body against it with an impressive thud. The impact moved the post, but too far and ended up bent the other direction.
The wise princess decided more precision was needed. She thought then of the very old beaver, who kept an excellently crafted dam. Perhaps she can help. She went looking for the very old beaver and found the industrious animal hard at work, slapping down mud on a part of her dam that had been blown apart in the storm. Most of the structure was unharmed because the beaver was very good at building things. The princess knew she had come to the right place. "Beaver," she said, "my house was damaged in the storm. Could you help me fix it?" "I believe I could do that, yes," said the very old beaver. And she paused at fixing her own den. "Follow the princess." The very old beaver examined the big wooden house and nodded. "It will be an easy fix," she said, and she set about righting the post with loud slaps of her tail. When she was done, the wise princess stroked the beaver's head. "Thank you, beaver," she said. "The wind blew the shingles off the roof and the planks off the walls and even bent this post. Now, thanks to you, I still have a home." "Think nothing of it," said the very old beaver, who returned to work on her own den once again.
That winter, the very old beaver grew ill, very ill. She was not able to fix her den, nor to gather food. When the princess found out, she set about delivering meals to the beaver. She brought stews of corn and beans and baskets full of bark and twigs from the beaver's favorite aspen. One day, the wise princess noticed that the beaver's den had begun to fall apart. She set about fixing it, and though she was not as talented as the very old beaver, the fix kept the creature warm and dry. "Thank you," said the very old beaver. "Of course," said the princess. "You helped me when the storm blew my house near to the ground. Thanks to you, I still have a home, and I am happy to do the same." The princess continued to nurse the old beaver until the day she came to the dam, and the forest was still. No birds sang, no branches rustled, no small things skittered within the underbrush. "Oh," said the princess, staring sadly at the dam, for she knew the old beaver had passed on. "Goodbye, my friend." And that is how the very old beaver saved the big wooden house, and how the wise princess repaid her kindness.
Sheesh.
Damn. So roof got repaired, walls got repaired, post got repaired, dam got repaired. Dams, not in the picture, but
She
roof,
fixed the roof shingles.
walls, and the
She fixed the
post.
planks that were blown off the walls. She slapped the post with. All right. It must have been rough on Eddie.
Yeah, he doesn't really like to talk about her.
Dear Marianne, you cover your ears every time I try to have this conversation with you, so I thought I'd have a better chance doing this in a letter. I know you don't like saying goodbye, so I'll keep my melancholic rambling short and sweet. I want to thank you with all my heart for taking care of me these past few months. I can't even imagine how exhausting it must have been for you to look after a sick old lady when you also have 2 small children at home. I know you want me to keep fighting this disease and hoping for recovery, but it's always been a great strength of mine to know when it's time to let go, and that time has come. I'd like to ask you for one last favor. Please, take care of Eddie after I'm gone. My poor boy puts on a brave front ever since his father died, but I know he's in pain. I would be so much more at peace knowing he still has family. Maybe he could teach the kids how to fish. He loves spending time with them. Thank you for all the warmth and the peace you brought to my life. Give the kids a kiss for me, will you?
Carol.
Carol.
Damn. Well, we got 4 more side stories to go. Or 3 more side
The
stories to
crafty
go.
goblin's good deeds.
Of course, the goblins had to help out the creatures of the forest to pay off their debt to the pelican.
Well, what did they do?
You know, I don't really remember.
Well, guess we'll find out.
Guess we'll find out. What would this one be under?
The white one maybe at the right side. Nope, that ain't it.
Goblins in the ice cave. Pelican helps her friends.
Maybe the next one. I think it might be Pelicans help the friends.
Oh, this
wait.
one.
That
That's-
forgives goblins. Yep. No, wait. Hold on. Go back real quick. Fucking taped words over the original.
They did a little editing, I see.
Hold on. This sorry makes it sound too bad. All right. The pelican forgives the goblins. Once upon a time, in a deep and ancient forest, there lived a pair of crafty goblins in a cave below a big wooden house. They lived with a wise princess who shared as much food with them as she was able, but it was never quite enough. This left the goblins hungry, very hungry, always hungry. One day, as they were out foraging for food, the pious pelican landed on a rock and dumped a smorgasbord from her beak, which the goblins knew was magic and never emptied. There were king crabs in red, blue, gold, and scarlet, veiny blue shrimp, pink shelled scallops, oblong brown clams, purple shiny spiny urchins, and even one prickly red sea cucumber. The food just kept coming. They watched as the pelicans ate one clam and then took a nap. "Do you think she would mind if we took just a little?" asked one of the goblins to the other. "Her beak never empties. She would possibly miss a couple of crabs," said the second, licking her lips. They were agreed, and so they crept over, filched some crabs, and ran.
The goblins scarfed the crabs, but when they finished, they found that they were still hungry. "She won't miss a handful of shrimp," said one goblin to the other.
That was really good.
The goblins scarfed the shrimp, but when they finished, they found that they were still hungry. "Maybe also a few scallops," said one goblin to the other. The goblins scarfed the scallops, but when they were finished, they found that they were still hungry. So they went back for clams, and then urchins, and finally, even the sea cucumber. Finally, they were not hungry, but there was also nothing left. Just then, the pelican woke up. "What happened to my food?" she asked, unable to lie about it. The goblins confessed their crime. The pelican was dismayed, but she was a charitable-hearted bird, and and she could tell the crafty goblins were growing little creatures.
Goblins, said the pious pelican, I will share my food with you, but you must in return follow my example and be as generous with others as I am with you. Take that to heart, and I will have considered your debt paid. But we have nothing to give, said the goblins. You have your nimble hands and your crafty bargains and your loving hearts, said the pelican. The crafty goblins realized how much they had to give, and for the rest of the day, they looked for ways to help the other creatures of the forest. They found the stalwart moose struggling with an itchy, hard to reach spot on his back, and so they climbed up and gave it a good scratching. Next, they helped the old bear, who could not get the honey out of a narrow beehive. They climbed up to the top of a tree with the hive and then dropped it, cracking it open. Finally, they found the princess, crying over a loss she would not speak about. So they wrapped their little arms around her in a great big hug and stayed until she felt better.
When they were done, they returned to the pious pelican. Did it feel good being as generous as I am? Asked the pelican. It did, said the goblins. I'm glad, said the pelican. We all have problems that we can't solve on our own. But if everyone goes about with generosity in their hearts, then there is always someone on hand to help. But we all must commit to do so, or there may be no one there to help you when you need it. This made sense to the goblins, and they thanked the pious pelican for her food and the lesson. Of course, by this time, they were hungry again, and that remained an ongoing problem until the day the stalwart moose taught them to fish, but that is another story. And that is how the pious pelican forgave the crafty goblins and how she taught them charity.
I love your pause when you had to read the pelican again. Having to remember how you set the tone.
It's like, what the hell? Okay, it was...
Scratch, beehive, princess.
Yep,
They gave the
moose.
stalwart moose a good scratch on the back.
Scritchy, scritchy, scritchy.
They broke open the beehive for the bear.
Fake.
They hugged the princess when she was crying. Nailed it. Our lives would have been so different if their friendship hadn't gone to shit.
The Pelican Crossing is a specialty gift boutique located near the O'Shea Glacier, catering to the Gastano Channel tourists as well as Delos Crossing locals. We specialize in an assortment of high-quality products from home accessories, handmade souvenirs to personalized apparel and locally made art. The Pelican Crossing will be the first store to act as a relay between the buzzing arts and crafts scene and the customers. In addition to a wide array of novel... Oh my god, my screen just got so blurry I can't finish it. Go ahead, take it from here.
In addition to a wide array of novelty handcrafted products, the consumer will enjoy friendly and knowledgeable customer service from Veggie store co-owner Tessa Veggie and upcoming artist Marianne Ronin. This business plan is prepared to obtain financing in the amount of $20,000 to purchase inventory and to help cover expenses in the first year of operations. In year 1, the Pelican Crossing plans to break even, and in year 2, we plan to generate a moderate profit. Working on the executive summary part of our business plan. What do you think, Tessa?
Wow, her and Tessa almost made a thing. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, I just love when Discord decides to drop all quality, and I'm like, well...
There it
The
goes.
old bear's gifts for the princess. I'm totally blanking on that story. What did he give her again?
Why don't we open up the book and check?
Bear's gifts. Bear.
Yep. The Bear and the Princess.
The Bear and the Princess. Once upon a time, in an ancient and deep forest, the old bear stood on the bank of the river swiping at salmon.
Yep.
Swiping at salmon on their way to the spawning grounds. Just as he'd got his paw on the particularly fat one, he heard a woman shouting for help. Help! Help! He considered simply eating his salmon, but then she screamed again. Help! And he lumbered over to investigate. After a short walk, he found the princess clinging to the top of the tree, while a wolf snarled and snapped at the base of the tree. Old Bear would normally not get in the middle of such a situation. After all, as a fellow predator, he understood the wolf's need to hunt. But when he saw the princess, he was struck by her beauty, and he knew he had to help. With a great roar, the bear heaved onto his hind legs, rising to his full height. The wolf snapped and snarled in his direction. But the bear roared again, and the wolf took off into the trees, tail between his legs.
The old bear fell back down onto all fours and stared up at the princess. She regarded him fearfully. "You can come down," he said. "How do I know you didn't save me just so you can eat me yourself?" asked the princess. "I suppose this is a fair question," admitted the bear, "but I promise I won't eat you."
You get this one too.
The princess had no reason to trust the old bear, except that he had kind eyes, and so she slowly made her way down the tree. When she reached the ground, the bear only watched her, and so she supposed she was not going to be eaten today. "Thank you," she told the old bear. "Of course," he said. "Can I walk with you back to your home?" "Of course," said the princess, and so the princess and the old bear walked together through the forest back to the big wooden house. After that day, the princess would occasionally find gifts from the bear: a fresh caught salmon, a handful of ripe berries, a newly bloomed bluebell. One spring, when a sudden thaw flooded the path out of the princess's home, the old bear was there, and she rode his back across the river. The old bear began to think that the princess should be his mate. After all, she had no mate, and she needed one, and he could keep her warm and provide her a much more suitable den and catch fish for her and protect her from wolves. She, in turn, would brush out his fur and pick berries without smushing half of them and scratch that one part of his back he couldn't reach. And with how she took care of the goblins, she would be an excellent mother for his cubs.
Crazy, wild. One day, the old bear came with a ring of spruce and asked the princess to be his bride. "I'm sorry," said the princess. "You are a very good friend, and I appreciate all you've done for me, but I cannot marry you. You're a bear, and I'm a princess. It would never work." The old bear was crushed. "Can we still be friends?" he asked. "We will always be friends," said the princess, "but I will never marry you." The old bear and the princess carried on their friendship, and after 1 year, he tried again to ask her to be his bride, but once again, she refused him. This happened 1 year later, and 1 year after that, and then finally, the princess said, "Old bear, you are my dear friend, and I appreciate all you have done for me. But I would sooner you have left me to the wolves than marry you, and that is how it will always be. I have my hands full with the 2 goblins who live under my house." They live under? That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
"And they all are in need." That wounded the old bear deeply, but it was finally enough to stop his proposals. They remained friends, and he continued to give her gifts of fresh salmon and ripe berries and newly bloomed bluebells. But the old bear never again asked the princess to be his bride, much as he might have wanted to. And that is how the princess befriended the old bear, and how she refused him.
Little savage.
All right, do you remember what it was?
Salmon, berries, and flowers.
Salmon?
Fresh caught salmon?
Where would the
Berries,
berries
that-
be?
That one probably, I'm guessing.
Some roses, maybe?
Nope.
Wait.
Bottom left, man.
A handful of ripe berries?
And
And then
bluebells.
Some honey? Or not?
Bluebells.
A newly
Those look like
bloomed
bluebells.
bluebell?
Dee-dee-dee-dee.
Man, he had it bad. Just couldn't let go.
Sorry for the note under the door like a prison inmate. You okay? I stopped by and rang a couple times this week, but you didn't answer. I could see the light in the hayloft, so I figured you were in, but I didn't want to talk. I hope I didn't ruin everything. I know I probably came on kind of strong, but the thing is, I don't know how to talk to a woman like you. You're strong and kind, and so much about a blurry screen that I can't read no more.
It's hard for me to know how to keep up. Guess all that went to my head. But I want you to know I got the message. And I'm gonna get out of your hair now. And there doesn't need to be any bad feelings. We can pass in the street and say hello or not. It's okay. P.S. I noticed your car was leaking, so I put some sealant in there. You might need to take it to the shop, though. Let me try if you want me to come with you, because sometimes... Let me know if you want me to come with you.
Sorry, I had a little bit of a stroke in that sentence.
Because sometimes these guys try to rip you off, you know? If not, it's no big deal. Sammy Sim Sam Sam.
Seizure boy.
Seizure Boy. Seizure Boy. There's a song called Seizure Boy.
Crafted
By
goblin's
Watsky.
loot.
Yep.
That's from The Princess and
Really
the
good
Two
song.
Thieves. I drew the original.
And I distinctly remember drawing that cake, which is arguably the best part of that illustration.
All right, Picasso. And you probably remember what the goblins stole in that story, huh?
They stole food and candy and flour. That's my guess.
All right, let's find out. My guess is first one on the left side or right side. I was incorrect. Oh
Is that one it?
no, it's the Princess and the Two Thieves.
Oh, yeah. The Princess and the Two Thieves. Once upon a time, in an ancient and deep forest, there lived a wise princess in a big wooden house. The house was built from the strong wood of the forest, and it kept the princess warm and safe. The princess was not a native of the forest, but she never spoke about where she had come from, for it made her cry. She did not have many friends, but that was how she liked it. The forest was big and deep, and many paths led to her house, but not many visitors passed by. The princess was happy to be left alone in the big house in the deep forest. She knew that the forest would provide for her, but that its generosity had to be respected. So, she only took what she needed. And for a long time, life was just fine for the princess in the big wooden house.
One day, when snow blanketed the earth and ice bent the trees low, the wise princess realized that food was disappearing from her house. It was not much at first, only a few fruits and nuts and eggs vanishing during the night. Maybe it's the birds, she said, or the mice. And for a time, the princess was okay with losing some food, for the winter was long and little creatures needed to eat too. But then small items started to disappear as well. Spoons and plates, forks and knives, and blankets. It was as if every time she was in one part of the house, something disappeared in another room. That can't be birds or mice, said the princess. I think I have a thief.
So, she went outside to look for traces in the snow and noises in the wind. But there was nothing to be found, nor to be heard. That's strange, said the princess. Maybe the thief is hiding inside my house. For many days she hunted, looking behind the curtains and under the bed, in the attic and the chimney, behind the poles and under the carpets, but she found nothing. And as she searched, food kept on disappearing night after night. I will make a cake, frowned the princess. A big cake with every egg and fruit and nut I still have, so that I only have one thing to keep my eye on. She spent the whole day making the cake and using everything she had left.
The cake she made was so big she could hardly carry it. If I manage to protect the cake, I'll be able to survive the long winter, she said. So she added a lock to the oven and she kept the cake safe inside. But the next morning, the lock had been opened and the cake had disappeared. At first, the princess cried because that cake was the last of her food until the snow melted. But then she noticed 2 trails of tiny feet in the spilled flour, and she followed the tracks to a hidden hatch in the floorboards. This is how the princess realized that 2 tiny thieves were living under the wooden house, right below her feet.
Crazy.
So they stole food and utensils.
What if they took some spoons?
They did.
Maybe they took some of the princess's fruit?
They did not.
No,
Maybe
fruit's
not.
disgusting.
Some flour for the cake, maybe?
That's also incorrect.
Or not.
Up top, the eggs.
Did they steal candy?
No, but they should have.
Maybe not. I'm pretty sure they stole some eggs. Didn't
They
they
didn't steal
take some of
clothes.
the princess's clothes?
No.
Or not.
Guess not.
Was it the flour?
Some flour for the cake, maybe?
No.
No.
Wait,
Did they steal fruit?
maybe they took some of the princess's fruit?
They stole
Guess-
fruit, apparently. I
That's
don't
it.
remember.
Wild.
I always wondered where that drawing went. She said it was her favorite, and then one day it just disappeared.
Aw. You kept it. You are the best mom in the world. The prettiest princess. So cute.
So cute. That's everything.
You ready?
Let's do it.
You really want to go? You sure we've seen everything?
All right. Now I need it. We just need to do a double check.
We can keep looking.
I guess
Anything in
we
that
could
back
stay a
corner?
little longer if you think there's more to find.
We got those like buckets.
Sit down, sit down, sit. Oh, we could put.
Oh,
Here,
the things
the
we've been
secret
collecting.
keeper, hiding secrets in the clouds. Gold lady.
Oh,
stays
you
locked
think
up in her
because we might
castle.
have missed some?
We'll let the mangy muskrat have his rock back. The ice king
Fuck.
goes.
Are we
in the
missing
forest,
something cool?
obviously.
I'm gonna be real sad.
There you go, stalwart moose. Back in your pond, big frog.
We're missing one.
We're missing bear.
We're missing bear.
We'll come back to this.
Anything on the other side? Oh, there's others on the other
Oh
side.
my god, there's more.
The bad
Crafty
guys.
goblins go
Oh, we're
here.
missing 2.
The mad hunter, always on the princess's trail. The moon hag's gotta be imprisoned in her lake.
Oh, we're missing 3 on this side.
We're missing 4 in total.
Well, we can do the replay feature as well, and at a later time, and get the ones.
Yep. Let's see if it's anything cool. Or if
Yeah.
it's just an achievement.
You really want to go? You sure we've seen everything?
But
Yeah.
have now.
Either way, I'm ready for this to be over.
Me too.